Hey, what are you doing? Have you been managing to watch any international football? Seen any of our lads in action? I haven't seen any of it. I haven't really had time. One of the lads over there said England played quite well and that Harry Kane looked like a man with weight at will lifted off his shoulders. I'll have to try and catch up with next fixture. A little bit of Wednesday news. Obviously not much to talk about during the international break playing wise. But off the pitch, some good news. It looks like Liam Cooper is going to be able to sign for Wednesday early into next week. Looks like we've had the permission from the EFL. That's to prove that our squad isn't overly represented by first team professionals, which shouldn't have proved too hard a stipulation to prove. So Liam Cooper, experienced centre half, I feel he could come in and provide some much needed cover. And whilst you can say he's on wrong side of 30, what you are getting is a real experienced campaigner in there, and not just that, the opportunity to give one or two lads in there a breather as well. You know, in a good season, you talk about competition for places, don't you? In a season like this, it's being able to take people out and give them a breather. So, little bit of good news there. Some other good news from the club. They've announced a package that they're doing coming into Christmas. It's a 4-game match package bundle. 80 quid it is, which works out £20 a game. I'll just get a little graphic up here. So the games include Preston, Derby and Hull. That's the Boxing Day fixture. And then Blackburn Rovers, which I think that's the last fixture of this calendar year. If you're a member already as well, this 4-game bundle actually works out at £15 a game. Absolutely brilliant deal. Great incentive to get fans into the stadium at this busy Christmas period. So fantastic gesture there from the club. Great package that. Another good incentive from the club and another positive business decision, but one which also brings fans back on board, sort of thing. The other thing that's happened this week, when we've talked a lot about communication since the administrators have come in fact, I found myself looking more at the official website in this last month than I have probably in the last 10 years. The other thing that's happened this week was there was an engagement panel meeting, which is obviously between various Sheffield Wednesday supporters groups and the club via the administrator. Now you'll be amazed to know that this one didn't run on for 23.5 hours while the owner admonished everybody sat in the room and didn't let anyone get a word in edgeways. This was a short meeting, and the minutes are out already. There's been some really interesting stuff out of the minutes, and I'll go through a couple of those little things, and I know not everyone will have seen them yet, although, again, good communication. They are available on the official Wednesday site as a download, so you can get a transcript to that, but I'll just go through one or two things. There's some interesting things in there. Now, firstly, obviously, they wanted to talk about a takeover, which top of the priority thing. So Chris Wigfield spoke about that. He started off by saying there was initially 80 interested parties in buying the club. They asked for proof of funds of £50 million. 11 parties out of the 80 did that, which sort of, gets rid of the tyre kickers. The preferred buyer will be known by the 5th of December, and then it's a case of the preferred buyer going through the fit and owners test, the fit and proper owners test. Although I think they call it the owners and directors test now. That'll be a more timely process, which will be longer if it's a consortium that's bought it, because obviously if one bloke's buying it, you can just look into him. If consortium's buying it and you're having to look into every one of them and make sure none of them are spivs, that will take a little bit longer. All on course though for some positive news going into Christmas. The other thing that's come out is that the running costs are about £700,000. We've heard a mystery Sheffield Wednesday supporter has loaned the club £1 million, just like that. They've wanted to retain anonymity about who they are, but a lovely gesture there. Everybody's been doing and putting the money in the club the way they can, and that's a great gesture there from someone who's obviously got a little bit of disposable income at their hands. The other news that come out is Hillsborough Stadium. The administrators have been working with the contractors doing work on the North Stand, and it looks like all those works will be signed off. They look like they're going to pass the test for that, so that's good news as well. No issues. Those contractors who have worked on the stand, they will be paid out of the administration process, so they will be paid for that. We do remember the farce with the scenario when the game was cancelled against Rotherham the other year with the underwater heating, which carried out by a firm that had previously not been paid for works done. More positive news, got 2 youth team players who are just about to turn 17. We have got permission to sign them onto their proper contract, so that's another bonus, so we're not going to be losing a couple of players from the youth team there. It's all positive news, isn't it? And you'll be in shock like me. And the administrator did go on to praise the staff at the club, who apparently been putting in extra long hours to make sure various things are coming into fruition, and obviously behind the scenes there's lots of different initiatives, and the administrator made it very clear the other week that they weren't all their ideas. No, it was staff at the club who have been shackled for the last 10 years or so. Some really good minds in there who were saying, well, I've had this idea that we were never allowed to run with, can we have a go at that? So they're all being allowed to get their input. They've all been working incredibly long hours. The other thing that came out, there was a question about who shall not be mentioned, or Voldemort, and it was in regards to the Sheffield 3 company who had owed £54 million in terms of investment into the club, and who specifically that money would have to be paid back to. Now, it will be paid back to Mr. Chansiri as a sleeping director. We know how many firms he set up, a sleeping sort of director of Sheffield 3. So he will be owed money for that £54 million. He's also put in loans himself for £62 million. So I'm rubbish at maths. What's that? 116 million quid. He will be entitled to that, but as part of this process, it will only be 25p in the pound. He's bound to raise that as an issue, which looks like we will get some sort of points deduction coming in, another one. But I think we're all well aware that that was going to happen anyway. The administrators have made aware to the potential buyers that they'll have to be looking at somewhere in the region of £30 million to secure the club, but within that, they do get the ground. So that's great news. That would have made a very awkward complication if you'd not been getting the ground with a club. Because essentially, if you're buying a club, you had a ground, you're just getting the players and the support, aren't you? So 30 million plus Hillsborough, so that's a bonus. The last thing, sorry I'm rushing, I'm a bit out of breath. The last thing is season tickets and half-season tickets for next season. I know, we used them coming out, October, November, get your money in. They will not be announced until the new owners take over. It will be their decision as to what season ticket prices are going to be in the coming seasons. Although I do gather that people who bought those long-term season tickets, they will be honoured. So yeah, a lot of positive news there coming out of that engagement panel meeting. And like I said, a little bit of to and fro in the chat as well, which is nice, rather than a ranting monologue. Was there anything else we needed to catch up with? Oh yeah, there was one more thing. Positives. Wednesday I've got a pop-up stall. They're going to be having a stall down in the Christmas market, so when you're in town and you're enjoying an eggnog, or I don't think I've ever had an eggnog. I probably should have had. I love Christmas meat. But anyway, Wednesday we'll be having a stall in the Christmas market. Not sure it will be open on the day of the derby, because for obvious reasons, folks who've been having a few Christmas sherries and wearing red and white striped kits in town. So, but yeah, all positive news. So, let me know what you think about that. Like I said, excellent 4-game ticket bundle coming up into the Christmas period. That might make a nice early gift for somebody, that actually. And let me know what you've been up to, what you've been doing during the international break. I've mainly just been working, and then at home been mainly stuck in the house because of this absolutely terrible, terrible weather. I mean, it's been shocking, hasn't it? See, I like winter. I do. Autumn, winter. Probably my favourite sort of seasons, really, traditionally. But when it's dry, cold and dry, you get your scarf on, brilliant. this, pissing it down all along. Not really got much time for that. Yeah, anyway, let me know what you've been up to. Let me know what you think about all this good news that seems to be coming out. And I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. In fact, I'm going to go and have a lie down because fish and chips for tea, and I've got to be honest with you, they're weighing a little bit heavy. I know, beige food, I know.